at it, and I should probably catch up by reviewing something relevant.
Well, that sounds smart.
Yeah! Too bad I'm dumb. Known as the medical scientist of the very first group of Autobots and making a very uncomfortable comment on pheromone levels that'll get someone in HR, Ratchet is very loyal to the Autobots serving directly beside Optimus Prime. He's taken on some of the most known and dangerous Decepticons even though he himself isn't particularly fond of battle. But with the war of the Cybertronians is unavoidable even on another world, Ratchet has to use his utilities to take them out. If it was going for accuracy, Ratchet should transform into a Hummer H2 ambulance, but instead the back bed and sloped down cage suggests this is more of a Humvee modified into a medical emergency truck. Usually a military truck, so it's possible it was altered for the N.E.S.T Global Alliance sub-theme. Aside from that strange oddity, it's not the only thing off. There's no trim around the windows, the proportions seem off with the wide front profile. I get that it's smaller than the Voyager before it, but am I the only one who thinks it comes off as a fast-action battler? I'm also not into the tone. This green has a gross appeal, like a pea soup swamp water. I could complain about the underkibble, but that's neither new or the worst we've seen. Most of it doesn't really bother me, aside from where are the shovels? Still love the dark gray roll cage on top. There's certain details you can make out, and the front bumper looks pretty good. There's some transparent lights in there too. Yes, the hinge is there, but compared to Studio Series, I'll take that over the head reveal. There's also a spare tire and painted taillights. There's search and rescue printing, and you can use the weird shaped port, take the EMP, and plug it on top. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. I'm a doctor! Pew! This figure was one of the first signs of the movie line downscaling, and with some tricks in the transformation, it seemed to kickstart the follow-up versions. There's better versions, I assume Dark of the Moon did pretty well, but I don't mind them trying something different even if it is wildly out of scale with a lot of other releases. Robot mode. The transformation seems standard at this point with some interesting tricks. My biggest concern is the side panels that fold around. The clearance on the hinge is concerning, but I love the spring and rotation for the arm set, and when you move down the bumper, two lights inside come up. I think Ratchet looks pretty good for a second attempt. The proportions seem better. I mean, I like how chunky the Voyager was, but he is pretty boxy. It is strange with the side skirts. They don't really have a reason to be here. It works with the theme better than the Studio Series roll cage butt flap that, well, is optional here. Functionality-wise, they're weird, and get in the way more than anything. Doesn't flow with the slimmer and more appropriately shaped legs. Needs a bit of paint though. Also, the panel behind the head is a bit too large. The backpack likes to slip out often, and those shoulders are big, being part of the Magnus family. They're on ball joints separate from the shoulder, so technically it's a double joint. You could bring them forward, but they still look bulky. Also, what's with the window that unclips with the panel? Like there was a plan to move it and oh, there's a head in the way. Ratchet does look a bit thinner by the cheeks, and with his nose he's looking like a bird, but I think it suits it. There's distinct eyebrows, an apparent mouth, and bonus light piping. But with the collar, it doesn't leave room for much movement. Did someone say articulation? Ball jointed head, ball joint shoulders, rotation below, elbow bend, wrist move, ball joint hips, rotation below, knee bend, hinge, and ball joint foot. Posability is fine, and the side skirts get out of the way for the legs. Inside the upper leg, there's some mechanical detail connected to a joint. He's a little finicky with all the extra stuff, but some of the poses make me realize he's got a tiny body and long limbs. Let's take a look at the accessory. He comes with a large EMP blaster with transparent launching missile. In a nod to animated, this can attach to the arm of the good-looking movie Lockdown, but with Ratchet, there's a geared slot. When attached, a few components wrap around the back like it implements into it. Just be careful it doesn't slip off. I like the rubber roll cage on this arm, but for a medic, you'd think he'd have answers why he doesn't have any guts. I won't compare it with the Studio Series 2 too much, but I will say, even if it's simple, I think it comes together better, especially in the torso. I guess one good thing about the kibble is, despite the size class, there's still somewhat a heft to it, and I think the height isn't too bad, especially with later figures, but I think what it boils down to is that it's pretty outdated. It's clear many later versions take notes from this, but that means those versions can improve the toy over this. There's some interesting tricks on how it works, and besides the questionable design choices, I think most of it suits the character. Why did Bay make him look like a goblin? Where is that Spider-Man?
Allspark TV. Now that's just prime.